The silent intrusion already living inside America's power grid. Most cyber attacks follow a familiar shape: a breach, a headline, a scramble to contain the damage. What US intelligence agencies confirmed about the intrusion known as Volt Typhoon follows no such shape at all. There was no ransom demand, no data dump, not a single dramatic event, just a quiet, patient presence, confirmed to have existed inside American power, water, and transportation networks for years, doing almost nothing except staying hidden and waiting. This is not a speculation from a private security vendor. In a joint cybersecurity advisory, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the National Security Agency, the FBI, and their counterparts across the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance formally assessed with high confidence that a state-sponsored actor linked to the People's Republic of China had compromised the information technology environments of multiple U.S. critical infrastructure organizations concentrated in the energy, communications, transportation, and water sector. Critically, the agencies were explicit about intent. This activity, they concluded, was not consistent with traditional espionage or intelligence gathering. The pattern of behavior instead suggested actors positioning themselves to enable future disruptive or destructive operations against the U.S. infrastructure in the event of a major crisis or conflict. From an engineering standpoint, what makes this operation notable is how little conventional malware it relies on. Rather than deploying obvious malicious software that antivirus tools are built to catch, this actor has been documented using legitimate pre-existing systems tools already present on a target network, a technique security researchers call living off the land. Investigators have also documented the group building covert proxy networks by compromising ordinary small office and home routers and VPN devices, using them as a difficult-to-trace footholds into the networks of utilities, water treatment facilities, and transportation. This approach is especially designed to blend into routine network traffic, making detection through conventional means extremely difficult. One confirmed intrusion, for instance, traced back to an unpatched firewall vulnerability that had simply gone unaddressed. The specific sectors targeted are the clearest signal of intent. Energy, water, transportation, and communications are not high-value espionage targets in the traditional sense. They don't hold the kind of sensitive intelligence data that typically attracts state-sponsored hacking. What they do hold is leverage. The Center for Strategic and International Studies notes that U.S. energy infrastructure alone serves more than 330 million people, spans over 7,300 power plants, and includes more than 600,000 miles of high-voltage transmission line, an interconnected system where disruption in one sector cascades rapidly into others. Positioning inside these systems without ever using that access creates exactly the kind of latent leverage a state actor would want available during the future moment of geopolitical crisis, a capability held in reserve rather than a data set collected for present use. It is worth posing on why this is so difficult to fully resolve, rather than simply patched and closed. US critical infrastructure is not a single network. It is thousands of separate utilities, water systems, and transportation operators, many running decades old industrial control systems that were never designed with modern cybersecurity threats in mind. The Government Accountability Office has separately warned that grid generation, transmission, and distribution systems all remain increasingly exposed to this category of intrusion, a vulnerability rooted in infrastructure design choices made long before this specific threat existed. As of mid-2026, security researchers and government reporting indicate this presence has not been fully eradicated. This is an ongoing managed risk, not a resolved incident. The constructive half of this story is the engineering response now underway, and it follows a principle familiar from any well-designed safety-critical system. Assume the perimeter will eventually be breached and design the system to be kept functioning anyway. CISA's current guidance to infrastructure operators centers on exactly this logic, building segmented operational technology network so that compromise in one area can cascade into another, maintaining pre-staged offline backups and manual fallback procedures and running tested isolation exercises so operators know how to keep critical systems running even if external connectivity is compromised or severed entirely. This mirrors the same resilience engineering philosophy in general that governs aircraft systems, power grid, protection relays, and other safety critical infrastructure. Redundancy and graceful degradation, not an assumption of perfect prevention. The most unsettling infrastructure threats are rarely the ones that announce themselves. What U.S. intelligence agencies have confirmed here is threat defined entirely by patience and silence and stealth, which means the appropriate response has to be built the same way. Not a single fix, but a sustained, disciplined engineering posture that assumes that quiet presence is already there and makes sure it never matters if it acts. Thank you so much for your presence. Tell me what you think. Tell me that perhaps your country, if you're not residing in the US or in the UK, is a potential vulnerability to such category of threats. And of course, you're more than welcome to tell me if you already know, if you're perhaps part of the decision-making committee in your country. What are the protective measures your country has taken to prevent or to be prepared to act rapidly to such attacks? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any questions, as usual, never hesitate to leave them. I will read each and every comment of yours. Thank you so much once again for your presence, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video.